Hello, family. This is Charles Thomas uh, coming back to you to connect. Uh, yeah, in regards to where we at as a people, and how we got to where we are at as a people. Um, it's a concern that I have regarding to the future for us as a people, and it's important for us to know that we're not in a good place spiritually, physically, and mentally. Um, and we're in a place where we don't realize the danger that we are in as a people. And what I'm talking about is how we got here is a concern of mine. And I'm reiterating the same thing that I have been discussing for quite a while. But I just had breakfast with some friends of mine. We meet periodically just to hash things over, to come up with a solution that would help us to take a closer look within ourselves and ask ourselves that we are on the right path as a people to reverse what we have been through under Christianity and to understand the darkness of where we are as a people spiritually. And it's hard to convey this to you because Dr. Davis, one of the friends of ours that was at the table, he reiterated that I use the Bible a lot to convey certain different scenarios. But he also told me that because they use the Bible to put us to sleep, to put us in this condition of not loving ourselves and having more appreciation for somebody that dislikes us as a people, and they use in Christianity or their religion to keep us in this condition of purgatory, simply because we don't know that we are in a condition of purgatory that has forced us to be non-productive as a community and a collective body. In order for us to come out of this, we have to learn how to collectively be inspired to want to do more in life, to get more from life and from the universe. And the only way to do that is to realize how important it is, or how badly we've been overlooked as a people due to what somebody else has caused us or blocked us from being what God wants us to be. God wants us to be and respect other people righteously. And what we've been through as a people, we don't see the goodness that we have, or we don't feel that we are deserving as a people to be more than what God has caused us to be. We are settling as a people to act and be what somebody else wants us to be. It's like a guy told me the way that they train a flea is they'll get a flea, some fleas, right? And they'll put them in a tube, and they'll put the top on the tube. And the flea will only jump as high as the top. Once it hits the top and gets conditioned to jumping only so high, then they can take the top off the tube. and the flea will only continue to jump that high. And that's what Christianity has done to us. We as a people don't try to jump to the stars or jump to the moon, or, we just jump as high as that tube allows us to jump, and that we have conformed to that height and that height alone. But we as a people, what you've been through will justify that you can jump higher, because nobody else can go through what you've been through as a people under another people, and what that people have done to us to cause us not to want to jump above that cap that they put over the tube. So we have to understand as a person collectively that God has not put limits on us. Man and their religion has put limits on us as a people. So we have to stop thinking the way that they want us to think. And what they use as the lid on the tube is the New Testament. And they are not, or they refuse to clarify the New Testament and the effects of the New Testament, because the story is about what they did to us, or what they are doing continually in these third world countries. And I can see it, just pertaining to Moses. And I bring Moses up a lot because Moses is in the Bible, and Moses, he spoke with God, and God told Moses not to worship any image of a man. Okay, so I look at the Catholic Church in Africa and in South America, and they are worshiping in the Catholic Church. They condition you to worship the image of them as a God. And they are teaching the people that God is the Pope is the middleman between the Creator and God. And the Spanish people and the African people and the people in the islands that are into the Catholic Church, they actually are worshiping or bowing down to images of another man. And that image comes from the religion of Christianity. When I was in Brazil, I went up to the mountain of the Redeemer. And it's on the top of a mountain, and it's huge. But it's the image of a Caucasian person. And when I come down and I go to the beach, I see the psychological effect that that image has over the people. And then when I go to Africa and I see people kissing the cross with that same image on the cross, where they get in a line and the priests have them kiss the image. And so that tells me that there's something wrong with worshiping images. And that's why Moses was given specific instructions not to worship anything. So if anyone goes contrary to what God told Moses, and then when they read the Bible and they believe in the Bible, but yet and still, they still are under the influence of this image of a Caucasian as a God. But they think that they are doing the right thing, but they are going against what Moses told them not to do. You can't serve two masters. You have to love one and hate the other. But because of the Christian belief that we have endured as humans, we don't see the problem with it. It's because they have told us in their religion that it's okay. And if you go against that, they call it sacrilege. And you don't want to be a person that's going against something that everybody's doing. So you want to follow the herd. And the scripture tells you that the road to hell is crowded. But the one to God, to righteousness, very few travel. Is something wrong with being in the religion that forces you to worship the image or an idol or anything that stands between you and your Creator? It's a no-no. But what has to happen to you to understand that it's wrong and the whole world is under the influence of worshiping Christianity? Christ's entity. Christ was it was a metaphor. It was about a crucifixion of the righteous. And you don't understand that you are the righteous that has been crucified. So you're afraid to let go of something that is going against what Moses and the other prophets talked about. You cannot continue to be conditioned by another man that's telling you that he is a God. They have a problem because they believe it. They've been telling this story for so long that white America actually think that they are the better race for humanity and mankind. And they will not relinquish that theology because they're the ones that's benefiting from it. You are on the bottom. You are getting the crumbs from their religion. And they are getting the material benefits and blessings by keeping you numb to life and what God wants you to be. The Bible explicitly talks about obedience to the law of righteousness. And if you can understand what religion has done to you as a people, and every time that you go to church, even though there's not an image of the white Christ on the cross, psychologically you know that white image is in your mind, as the image of your Savior is a white image. That's the only image that they have given you and showed you to worship. But you will not stop worshiping something that was made by their hands or their image. And God said he's not going to show you no mercy on Judgment Day because you should know better based on what you've been through under the cross of Christianity. There's no reason for you to continue down that path. And when God asks you, who did you worship as a God? And you're going to say, I worship this white image. Isn't this God? He's going to say, no. God is no man. God is a spirit of righteousness. You know, and righteousness doesn't have a brother or a sister. It means something other that you can't understand. Because that's symbolically us on the cross. We've been crucified by Christianity. We ate the fruit, the forbidden fruit. Religion. Religion is the forbidden fruit. I don't care how many times you read the Bible, but you can't understand that. Religion is the forbidden fruit. In the stories, it tells you, it confirms that. So, you have to be able to separate and pull the truth out of it and the effects that religion or worshiping the image of another man has done to you. You have to dig within yourself and ask yourself to forgive you for being forced to believe in something that's outside of you. Everything that you need to live a righteous life is within you. There's nothing on the outside. Everything that you need was created within you to overcome any obstacle or barrier, that man puts in front of you. Satan didn't force you to believe. It was these black preachers forced us to believe in Santa Claus and Tarzan and all these other ghosts that we believe in and have fear of. There's people that are driven by fear and they have not experienced life. You can't have no fear and have righteousness. You got to travel and see God's creation in order to appreciate God. God is not trying to hide. You're the one that's hiding from God. He wants to show you. And you can see him in his creation. But if you're afraid to leave town and fly on an airplane or take a cruise or, go to another country, not get a passport, that's your problem. It's available to you, but you don't see the importance of it. You rather stay here and complain and get the crumbs from the rich man's table. You have to create your own existence. Everything in nature is created to defend and support itself. We are the only people that I can think of that are totally dependent upon another people. And if we have the ability, to work together, they pass a law to stagnate you. They work against you. I left this meeting and we went to a store in our community, and there's immigrants that has the store that is in our community, and they don't pay no taxes. And here we are citizens in the United States, and we've paid our taxes ever since we've been here, but the white community will not give us benefits to establish a business and maintain a business. But somebody, immigrants that's come over here fleeing from their country, they can come in your country and they can fry chicken and open up a business, and we frequent that business. But if you do it, you won't support your brother by buying his chicken, but you'll go buy chicken from an Arab or some other immigrant instead of establishing your own business. You got to see the mental effects of not loving yourself. And it's terrible. And other people see that in us as a people. Nobody likes a loafer. And we have become a people that Hollywood has shown them that we don't care about ourselves because we don't do for ourselves. We have to learn as a people how to get along. And I was reading the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. He was the last prophet that was sent to the Arabs. Man. They was the last group of human people to receive a prophet. Anybody beyond that hue of color didn't receive a prophet. So that tells me that we are in the bloodline of a hue of a color. But it's not a color, it's a chemical. We have melanin. And we have certain characteristics that other people don't have. We have compassion, we have love, we have mercy, we have justice. We have more emotional things. People that are non-melanin, they don't care. They'll do to you what they did to us. They'll take your name from you. They'll wipe out your history. They'll rob you blind. They'll take your gold. They'll force you to become a slave to them. They'll make you eat things that are not conducive to your health. We had to survive off pork, garbage that they threw away. We had to go through the garbage to pick out the chicken wings that they were throwing away, the neck bones they were throwing away, the chitlins that they were throwing away in order to survive. And then they take your African name from you. And then they would sacrifice us to appease the image of the God on the cross. You have to understand where you are in relationship to another people. This is what they did to you. And it's not a hate thing. These are facts. But because of religion, and they tell you to turn the other cheek and love those that despitefully use you, we fall for that foolishness. White people ain't going to turn the other cheek. If it is, it's to find a gun to blow your brains out. And no one could stand the abuse that we have suffered under Christianity. White Christians couldn't take what they did to us. And there's no way that you can muster up the hate that they have displayed on us. There's no way. It's not in your nature. So you're talking about people with two different natures. And even I talk to people and they want you to love them for what they've done to us. All of them are not bad. But you couldn't pick out the good one. They all like, and none of them have told you the truth. None of them will tell you that they sacrificed you to appease that white image on the cross. Because the Catholic Church told them, white America, that we were cursed as a people. And they believe that, and they're never going to let you rise above them. But prophecy has to be fulfilled. And the only way the prophecy is going to be fulfilled if you come to your right senses to realize who you are as a people and what you've been through and how you've been treated under Christianity. Stop being the fool and learn how to love yourself and forgive yourself. And start teaching our children mathematics, the sciences, and become a family. And stop mistreating others and ourselves. Because it's only a reflection of what and the condition that we've been exposed to that allowed us to turn on each other like we have. We don't make bullets. We don't make drugs. But they're in our neighborhood. How'd they get there? From some other people bringing them to us. It's time to wake up and see that they use the New Testament to put you to sleep. And the only way they wake you up is to show you the truth and yourself in the New Testament and what they did to you under the New Testament. There was no need for Catholic Church to come up with the New Testament because the first 5 books about the covenant of righteousness should have been sufficient. But we allowed them to stick the New Testament onto the first 5 books of Moses. And that's where the problem started. And they started teaching us or forcing us to believe more in the New Testament and discard the Old Testament. You better wake up. Time's running out. The clock is ticking. When God asks you, who did you serve or who did you worship? You got to tell him the truth. Your body's going to speak out against you. and you can't help it. And you better get familiar with the person that's within you, your spiritual person. Because I done been there. It's not who you think it is. And you can't be afraid of him when you see him, because you're going to see him when you die. Yeah, you're going to see him when you die. So you better be prepared and get ready to meet him, because everybody's going to die. Nobody lives forever. So you better get this right. You better get this right. If you want to see Aunt Susie and Uncle Bill and Henry and John, your friends, and meet them in a higher place, on a higher plane, you better come clean with the truth. And my time is just about out. I might have went over, but I'm sorry, but I just had to get this out of me. My wife went to see Bob Marley, so I got the house to myself, so I thought I'd sit down and communicate with you. And I really, it's sad what the church has done by teaching us the New Testament as a religion, when we as a people should realize that we have been crucified by religion. You were forced to worship religion as they see it, because they don't know spirituality like you should know spirituality. And you better start looking for your spiritual side of righteousness and follow your righteousness, so that you can go to a better place, so that you don't have to repeat this or come back through this dimension and be exposed to religion again. Be done with religion. Just based on what you've seen religion has done to you. Slavery, hanging, lying, fornicating. That's what a Christian is. If you look at their history, I don't care how far you go back, these people were designed not to respect God and the universe. They don't even want you to know about the zodiac. Or they don't even want you to know that that's you on the cross. But Constantine said that I'm going to take this religion and I'm going to go over the world, all over the world, and impose this religion upon the world and lock your mind up. That's the thorn that they put on our head, and they show it on the crucifixion. That's that thorn that's bleeding your senses. And then they say, here is the King of the Jews. Talking about you. You the King of the Jews. Melanin man, wake up and forgive yourself. And knock off the dust of the sin in your past and be free of it. And start living a truthful life. Because there is truth in the New Testament. But you got to look on the opposite side of what they're telling you. Because that's us that went through the fire of slavery. Daniel in the lion's den. That was you. The lion didn't attack you because of your righteousness. That king didn't have no righteousness. The lion ate him up immediately. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That fire was slavery, torment. But God been with us. And now he's bringing us out of that fire. You got to tell the story and tell it correctly. Job, we had everything and we lost it, but we kept our faith. We didn't give up on God. And at the end of that, God gave Job everything that he lost. These stories is about us. We were thrown into the well and sold into slavery. And because of our righteousness, the king's wife tried to seduce us. And she tore our clothes from the back. But we were willing to go to prison to avoid the abuse. And the king's wife was symbolic for the Catholic Church and the other little queens. So God went to the big queen, because of your righteousness. That's what they had to get rid of us, because we were a righteous people. You have to understand that. And look at where we fall into. And what's on the bottom has to come to the top to fulfill prophecy. And what's on the top has to come to the bottom. Who's on the bottom? And righteousness is trying to get you to elevate us. But you have to understand the story and how they put us to sleep through the forbidden fruit, religion. And that's the story of Adam. Okay, I got to let you go. Peace, and we'll get together later down the road. And I love you, and I'm not trying to hurt you or twist your arm, but we got to wake up. We cannot stay on this path as a people and expect. We got to start growing our own food, because everything in the grocery store is killing us, because it's not for us. We have to go back and get away from this genetically altered food that we're killing ourselves by eating. So in love and peace and respect, and get on the road to forgiving yourself, because what you've been through as a people, you were numb to sin. You thought sin was good for you, but sin ain't a good thing. And get away from the peer pressure, young men. And we need young people to understand what we need to do, because this has to continue. The growth that we need to get along, so we can be who we need to be for our Creator. If not, we're going to die off like the dinosaur. And you can take that to the bank. Okay, again, peace. Love you. Have a blessed day.